In today's show, Bitcoin finally due for 32,800 as long-term Bitcoin price metric flashes overvalued. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. And as crypto analyst, me Halving, they pop shares here. Bitcoin broke through 29,400 and ran towards the next resistance zone. If we hold 29,400, we'll be good towards $32,800. Finally, and he updates us here this morning, and Bitcoin is at 29,300, trying to hold support. Ultra boring. Chop market, and as shared here by Nebraska and Gooner, Bitcoin, very interesting, 30,400, the line to beat now. And this just in, breaking news, MasterCard Vice President says mass adoption of Bitcoin and digital assets will happen sooner than later. And more breaking news, Turkey to submit a bill regulating Bitcoin and crypto in the coming weeks. According to Bloomberg, and quoting U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, Bitcoin is on a steady path. Nothing about fiat currency is on a steady path. Facts. And also quoting U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, I buy a little bit of Bitcoin every week. Keep stacking them sats. Also in today's show, investors are unfazed by Bitcoin and crypto sell-offs, according to the Grayscale CEO, Michael Sonnenschein. That's right, in a new interview with Yahoo Finance at the World Economic Forum Conference in Davos, Switzerland, Michael Sonnenschein says that investors are looking at Bitcoin's recent sell-off as more of an opportunity than a crisis. Also in today's show, crypto strategist says Bitcoin is primed for a bounce as U.S. stock markets flash bullish signals. That's right, popular crypto analyst and trader Kevin Svensson says Bitcoin is ready to bounce alongside the U.S. stock market. That's right, he says Bitcoin is demonstrating a nearly 90% correlation with the S&P 500 recently. Also in today's show, Bitcoin price bottom signals flash as the fear and greed index matches March 2020 lows. As you can see here, we're currently rated an 11 out of 100 in extreme fear. And as pointed out by this crypto analyst, something like this might play out for Bitcoin. Notice the lower left corner, we had a double bottom before getting a green wave. We're currently sitting at the bottom of the wedge. We can go a little lower and form another double bottom before reversing. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market and discussing where the Bitcoin price is likely to go next. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Here at Crypto News Alerts, I drop a brand new episode every single day. The goal is to get to 100,000 subs, and if you like getting that crypto, be sure to smash that subscribe button, that's right, and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium Crypto News Alerts every single day, just like this. All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. How's it going, crypto fam? Make some noise in the live chat. The Bitcoin briefly returned to $30,000 before May 25th's Wall Street Open as range adherence lingered, which you can see here in the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart. Now, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin managing to hit $30,189 on Bitstamp before consolidating back under the $30,000 mark, which is where we're currently at. While appearing uninspiring at first glance, Bitcoin on the low time frames was a source of fresh interest for crypto analyst Mikhail Pop, who predicted a run near $33,000 next. As he shares here on crypto Twitter, Bitcoin broke through 29,400 and ran towards the next resistance zone. If we hold 29,400, we'll be good towards $32,800. Finally, and then he updates us here, and Bitcoin is at 29,300, trying to hold support. Ultra boring, chop market. And when it comes to Ethereum, he says, I'd preferably want to see the $1,950 area hold for support, as continuation can happen towards $2,050. Now, 32,800 would represent Bitcoin's highest since May 9th, just before the Terra implosion sparked its cascade to 10-month lows. Now, fellow trader Nebraska and Gooner, meanwhile, eyed a series of the higher lows on the 4-hour chart, highlighting 30,400 as the line to beat. As he shares here, Bitcoin, very interesting, 30,400 the line to beat now, and he just recently updated us right here, failed to beat 30,400 overnight. Now let's discuss this metric, which hints that the Bitcoin price is overvalued. Beyond intraday price action, cold feet amongst analysts remain for on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant concerning signs from the network transaction value, better known as the NVT, Golden Cross metric. It suggests that a retracement was incoming. That's right, designed to catch the local tops and bottoms. A spike in the NVT Golden Cross, as was occurring on the day, reinforced the idea that volume was not sufficient to sustain upwards trajectory. And quoting the CryptoQuant analysts, we have significant change in the NVT Golden Cross indicator, where it has reached its most overvalued position since April last year before the dip to June lows. And as Cointelegraph recently reported, forecasts for a generational bottom in Bitcoin included as low as 15,500 this week. And in fact, I shared in yesterday's breaking story, Scott Minerd, the CIO, Chief Investment Officer from Guggenheim, which is a major institution, he's calling of a Bitcoin bottom of $8,000, which I personally think is ludicrous, but nonetheless, that's what's out there. Now, a new all-time high, meanwhile, might have to wait until 2024, according to many crypto analysts, which is the time of the next Bitcoin halving. Let me know when you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to break out and reach a new all-time high, surpassing the all-time high set back in November of last year of $69,000. Let me know in the comments right down below. And checking out these recent tweets by Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. Interesting poll results. 81% thinks Bitcoin stays below $500,000 next 5 years. Stock to flow model predicts $500,000 plus average after the 2024 halving. Very similar to March 2019 when I published stock to flow model and Bitcoin was below $4,000. The majority thought that the stock to flow prediction of $55,000 after the 2020 halving was crazy, and he makes a great point. And he recently shared this: Bitcoin jumped after the 2020 halving as predicted. Question is, will Bitcoin pump again after the March 2024 halving, or will we front run, or is the halving cycle dead? And 49.4% of you said pump again, 22.6% of you said front run, and 28% of you said halving cycle dead. And as on-chain analyst Dylan LeClaire shares here, the June 2023 Fed's funds rate implied by the euro-dollar futures have fallen by 65 BPS over the past 20 days. The market is beginning to walk back to the Fed's hawkishness. And as shared here, breaking news just in, MasterCard Vice President says mass adoption of Bitcoin and digital assets will happen sooner than later. Mass adoption, let's freaking go. And more breaking news, Turkey to submit a draft bill regulating Bitcoin and crypto in the coming weeks, according to Bloomberg. And quoting U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, Bitcoin is on a steady path. Nothing about fiat currency is on a steady path. Also like to point out that volatility equals life force, hence why so much volatility in the Bitcoin market, and hence why no volatility, virtually none, in the US dollar. And quoting US Senator Ted Cruz, I just buy a little bit of Bitcoin every week. That's what you should be doing. Keep stacking them sats. And before I break down next story of the day, investors unfazed by Bitcoin and crypto sell-off, according to the Grayscale CEO, Michael Sonnenschein. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin in the green, while many of the top cryptos are correcting and in the red, with Bitcoin up 1% for the day, maintaining just above $29,500. We also have Binance Coin in the green, up about 0.75%, trading at $326, while Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, and Solana all correcting and in the red. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. The CEO of digital asset titan, Grayscale Investments, is weighing in on the state of Bitcoin as the signature crypto asset deals with an ongoing market correction as well as negative sentiment. In a new interview with Yahoo Finance at the World Economic Forum conference in Davos, Switzerland, Michael Sonnenschein says that investors are looking at Bitcoin's recent sell-off as more of an opportunity than a crisis. That's right, it's a great opportunity to stack them sats. As he shares here, I think we have to examine crypto in the context of what's been happening in the broader markets. You've been seeing rising rates in the US, which has caused a lot of volatility in a lot of different asset classes. Crypto, along with it. The recent sell-off, though, from what we're hearing from investors, has not deterred them. If anything, they're looking at it opportunistically, and a pullback like this is nothing new in the crypto space, and he makes a great point. Now, Sonnenschein also discusses how Bitcoin on one hand does mirror gold's role as a safe haven asset, but notes that Bitcoin's relative youth versus traditional investments means making direct comparisons to it can be tricky. As he shares here, our standpoint on this is largely when you're looking at something like Bitcoin, you're looking at something that for us really does look, feel, and act like digital gold. If you look over at a longer time horizon, you'll see crypto being uncorrelated to other asset classes, although oftentimes it is scrutinized because we do only have the last 10-year plus of trading history to really examine. Now, the Grayscale CEO says he hopes that governments end up providing clear legal guidelines in order to foster further innovation within the industry. As he shares here, we're spending a lot of time in DC, and that's also a reason that the Grayscale team is here in Davos. Regulation around crypto and the entire ecosystem is paramount. paramount. One thing that we really would like to see on the heels of the White House executive order, what you've seen out of the UK government, what you've seen in Germany recently, a lot of governments are moving their policies and procedures forward, and we'd like the US to do the same thing here. We need to see regulation beyond just enforcement so that we have the proper regulatory frameworks to foster the innovation, to create job growth, to create products and services, to ensure that the innovation around this technology remains in the US and we don't lose our competitive advantage there. So there you have it. And to watch this entire interview between the Grayscale CEO and Yahoo Finance entitled Davos 2022, the recent market sell-off has not deterred crypto investors. Check the show notes below the video in the description. And in your humble opinion, what do you feel will usher in this mass Bitcoin adoption and regulation? Obviously, it's going to be the spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States, as we have Bitcoin ETFs popping up all around the world, but nothing yet in the US except derivative ETFs, which are used for manipulation, which we all know. And before I break down next story of the day, Crypto Strategist says Bitcoin is primed for a bounce as US stock markets flash bullish signals. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting at $1.25 trillion with $75 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. The current Bitcoin dominance back on the climb at 44.7%, with the Ether dominance at 18.8%. And checking out the top 100 cryptocurrency gainers in the past 24 hours, you can see Celo leading the pack up 8.7%, trading at $1.43, followed by Ethereum Classic up 7%, trading at $23.62, followed by Kava up 6.6%, trading at $2.71. And checking out the top 100 cryptocurrency gainers for the past week, you can see a handful in the green, the majority in the red. You have XMR, which is Monero, up 19.1%, XCN up 14.8%, and XTZ up 13.4%, while the biggest loser is the not-so-stable coin UST, down yet another 76%. And checking out one of my favorite indicators is the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Shows we are currently rated an 11 out of 100 in extreme fear. Yesterday at 12, last week at 12, and last month at 23 in extreme fear. And if you're not familiar with the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, extreme fear can be a sign investors are too worried. That could be a great buying opportunity, aka BTFD, buy that freaking dip. And when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for a correction. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. A popular crypto analyst and trader thinks that the King Crypto is ready to bounce alongside the U.S. stock market. In a new strategy session, crypto trader Kevin Svensson tells his 69,000 YouTube subs Bitcoin has been demonstrating a nearly 90% correlation with the S&P 500 as of recent. He also says that the S&P 500 is reaching extremely oversold levels on the weekly relative strength index, better known as the RSI, a metric measuring an asset's market momentum. Svensson also notes that the index hasn't hit a point this low since the COVID crash in early 2020. Remember when the Bitcoin price crashed all the way down to $3,800? Well, deja vu. Now, the analyst also says that the S&P 500 has tended not to spend much time at these historically low levels on the RSI. He thinks that equities are due for some kind of rally, especially since the index just dropped to a key Fibonacci level at the end of last week. Svensson predicts that Bitcoin will follow the S&P on a multi-week reversal back to the upside, though he thinks there's a strong possibility that Bitcoin hits a lower price on a later date down the road. Now, the analyst also predicts that Bitcoin will follow the S&P on a multi-week reversal back to the upside, though he thinks there is a strong possibility that Bitcoin hits a lower price later down the road. The analyst also says the Bitcoin could test up as high as its current downward sloping resistance line before dropping to lows later on, and Bitcoin's price could surge to the previous support zones around 36,200 or the previous candle close zones of around $37,500, which you can see here in this chart. And to watch this entire video prediction breakdown by Kevin Svensson entitled 2023 to 2024 Explained, check the show notes below the video in the description. And checking out a recent tweet from him, we're looking at least 1 year of sideways Bitcoin. What does sideways mean? Plus 100% pumps, followed by negative 40% dumps, plus 300% pumps, followed by negative 70% dumps, etc. Depending upon the cycle you're looking at. An instant recovery to the moon is not likely. Be ready for sideways. So there you have it. And before I break down our final story of the day, Bitcoin price bottom signals flash as Fear and Greed Index matches March 2020 lows. But first, I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below this video in the description for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the crypto market. This goes for all 1,200 plus videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also, some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including my crypto merch store live at merch.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also, be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. And of course, you can follow me on all the major podcasts and platforms, from Spotify, home of the Joe Rogan Experience, to Apple's iTunes and Google Play. We're currently receiving over 500,000 downloads per month, and I greatly appreciate your continued support. And of course, you can follow me on crypto Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, and TikTok. So wherever you're at, be sure to plug in and follow me there. But all right, now let's break down our final story of the day. Bitcoin has fallen by over 67% this year in 2022 and is now wobbling between a tight trading range defined by 28,000 as interim support and 30,500 as interim resistance. Now the sell-off appears in the wake of the Federal Reserve's hawkish policy and the uncertainties in the crypto market, led by Terra, an algorithmic stablecoin project whose native token Luna fell by 99%. Earlier in the month, went from billions of dollars to virtually nothing overnight. Now, nonetheless, Bitcoin's decline has somewhat cooled down as May draws to a close, leaving speculators with the hope that the token is in the process of bottoming out. As analyst shares here, something like this might play out for Bitcoin. Notice the lower left corner, we had a double bottom before getting a green wave. We are currently sitting at the bottom of the wedge. We can go a little lower and form another double bottom before reversing. Now, interestingly, Bitcoin's Greed and Fear Index also hints at the same scenario, notes Arcane Research in its latest weekly report. In detail, Bitcoin's Fear and Greed Index reached a score low of 8 on May 17th, indicating extreme fear, a first since March of 2020. Quoting Arcane Research here, we see that buying fear has previously been a profitable strategy when measuring median and average returns of previous extreme fear periods. Arcane wrote while citing the 4 instances wherein Bitcoin's Fear and Greed Index had dropped to 8. Meanwhile, Ben Lilly, market researcher at Jarvis Labs, added that Bitcoin's Fear and Greed Index fallen below 10 signals the extreme possibility of the market bottoming out. He also noted that buying Bitcoin when its Fear and Greed Index scores below 10 is a good short-term strategy, sharing the following. Turns out the strategy where you hold it for less time produced greater results, meaning the strategy where you sold after the Fear and Greed rose above 35, which is the yellow line in this chart, which you can see here on your screen, produced better results than a reading of 50, which you can see in the orange, and 80, which you can see in the red. Now, on the flip side, Arcane highlighted that not all the lower Fear and Greed scores have guaranteed bullish retracement moves in the past. Some preceded continued sell-offs. For instance, Bitcoin dropped nearly 11% on April 7, 2018, just 60 days after its Fear and Greed reached extreme fear levels. Now for some more indicators signaling a Bitcoin price bottom. For instance, Glassnode's MVRV Z-score, which assesses when Bitcoin is undervalued/overvalued based on its fair value, is nearing the green zone that has preceded the crypto's massive rebound rallies, as shown right here in this chart. And simultaneously, the long-term output profit ratio indicator, which evaluates the profit ratio of the whole market participants by comparing the value of outputs as the spent time to created time, also suggests that the Bitcoin price is bottoming out. That's right. Specifically, when that value falls below 1, it highlights that the long-term Bitcoin hodlers could sell Bitcoin at a loss. And conversely, a value above 1 shows they could sell and profit. And as of May 25th, the LTH SOPR is at 0.72, which could mean a potential forming bottom in the Bitcoin market because people will be reluctant to sell their Bitcoin at a loss. Now let's discuss the sell-off warnings remaining for the King crypto. That's right, the uplift and bottom indicators appear to be in contrast to a few other bearish signs elsewhere in the market and calls for as low as 15,500 and even below $10,000. For instance, Scott Miner, Chief Investment Officer at Guggenheim, argues that the Bitcoin price is on its way to $8,000, which I covered in great detail in yesterday's episode. If you missed it, be sure to check it out because he's calling for a 70% drop from today's price. Now, Miner cites a hawkish Federal Reserve for the bearish outlook on Bitcoin, whose daily correction with the NASDAQ has been positive since February of 2022. However, I also like to point out it's their dream to purchase Bitcoin at this low of a price, as it is for all long-term hodlers. Wouldn't you like to be stacking sats at $8,000? But just saying, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. Personally, I think 20,000 is a very strong support, and I don't know if we're going to realistically drop below that, but anything is possible in crypto. If anyone tells you different, don't listen to them. Now, from a technical perspective, Bitcoin could indeed fall further towards the $22,000 to $26,000 range before bottoming out. These levels coincide with 2 historical support levels, the 200-day exponential moving average and the 200-day simple moving average that marked the end of Bitcoin's previous bearish cycles. Now, towards the downside, the $25,000 bottom from May 12th is the closest support level below $29,000, as noted by Arcane Research's analyst, and he also said we could be around 20,000, which is the 2017 peak, and says towards the upside, 30,500 has been a strong resistance area over the last week. If Bitcoin breaks out of resistance, $35,000 is the next key resistance area. So there you have it. Will Bitcoin break out to the upside or to the downside first? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now for the top 3 comments from yesterday's episode. No Money G wrote, sorry I missed the last couple of shows, but helping to take care of my mom with surgery and post-surgery issues. As always, up to date and great crypto news without the BS. All good fam, wishing your mother a super healthy and speedy recovery. As always, thanks for tuning in. Hodl. And our next featured comment comes from Digital Gravity. He wrote, I doubt Bitcoin will drop to $8,000. There would be a lot of retail and institutional buying it before it fell below 5 digits. In a market like this, dollar cost averaging is best. Keep some dry powder to buy any major dips. Great point, fam. Agreed 100%. I think the $8,000 bottom prediction is wishful thinking for those who want to mass accumulate. However, I don't see it happening, but time will tell. And our third and final featured comment comes from BitBud, who wrote, I mentioned various times last November to put it all in USDC, called the $52,000, $42,000, $32,000, $22,000, and $12,000. Moon begins. Next halving. Well, thank God you didn't recommend us to all put it in UST, the not so stable coin, but much respect, fam, because you did call it from the beginning, and I must give credit where credit is due. And to be featured on tomorrow's episode, drop me a comment right down below.